Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Secrets of Successful Investors from WeBuyHouses.com. This is a wonderful series, and we know you guys are enjoying it. And this one, I think you're going to really like. Mike, who do we have today?
It's James Wachob out of Memphis, Tennessee. And you know, Deb, what I really love about this interview is Memphis is another super competitive market. And James had sort of stagnated for a while, adopted the brand, and the rest is history. We'll let him tell you, but needless to say, the guy is killing it.
Yeah. He may have stagnated for a minute, but you know, it really just shifts in the market. And that's one of the things that I think they'll get out of this is James talking about how the market changes and shifts and how he's adapting.
Right. You know, if you can't get something out of this video, hang it up. Because he's throwing some bombs out there.
That's right. Well, let's go to it and see what James has to say. Hi there, guys. I'm here with a very successful real estate investor who's part of the We Buy Houses system. I'd like to ask you to introduce yourself to the viewers. Who are you and where's your market?
Hey, Dev. Thanks for having us today. So I'm James Wachob, and we are in Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis, Tennessee. You guys have had a pretty good few years in the last few years there in the Memphis market, right?
We have. We've been in the turnkey space since 2009. And a few years ago, when I hooked up with you guys, I had a problem to solve, and it was that we weren't finding enough properties to meet the demand of our investors. So we had starting to slack on the number of properties that were becoming available to us, mostly by our wholesalers. So I asked my best wholesaler, I said, why have you stopped sending me properties? And because that was our number one source of buying homes 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't need you anymore. And I took aback, and I said, well, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, I'm selling all of my properties to mostly California investors, out-of-state investors who do the rehab on their own, and they don't need a turnkey guy anymore. So that's the day I decided, well, we'll become more like a wholesaler and go out and create these opportunities instead of trying to find a deal that just came across our desk.
Yeah.
And so that's how we found WeBuyHouses.com.
Excellent. If we let's just so people get to know you a little bit, let's kind of back up and tell us a little bit about how did you get kind of started in real estate? How long have you been involved in real estate?
Sure. 2003, I started working in the home building world. So brand new houses. Our ideal client was a first-time homeowner, an empty nester, and then we worked with a few divorced people. So that was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage home. That was my specialty. Most people would call that a starter home. Mm-hmm. And it was great. We were absolutely killing it until 2009. And the builder I was teamed up with came in my office one day and said he was bankrupt. And we were all just blown away.
Wow.
Couldn't believe that ride had come to an end. So like Gary Keller says in his book, Shift, there's no bad market. It's just a shifting market. Mm-hmm. So at that point, thank God I was single and I could live on ramen noodles. And I reinvented myself. So who was buying new homes? And the answer was hedge funds and investors. Mm-hmm. So we started building houses as rentals, and that was great. We were able to capitalize on that because we were able to buy pieces of land, a lot, at highly discounted prices because the builder or developer had foreclosed on it. So we'd go to the bank and buy a piece of land that used to cost $60,000, and we'd buy it as low as $10,000. So when you get that huge discount on the piece of land, you can build a house that works as rentals. Mm-hmm. So that was great. But again, that world shifted recently when all of those lots ran out. So I saw that coming a few years ago and teamed up with Jim Reedy here in Memphis. So he's my partner. He and Brad Reedy, his son, because they were already doing turnkey rentals where they buy a house, renovate it, sell it to an investor, then manage it, and had a property management company already established. And believe me, that is the hardest thing in real estate, is to manage 1,000+ properties.
Wow, yeah, right.
So they were already doing it really well. So great marriage there. You got the home building world, the turnkey world, property management, all in one house. And that's when the next change came. Since the lots were gone, got into the turnkey space. And then the next change came when the wholesalers quit sending us houses. And that's when we started finding them on our own.
About when was that? What year?
So 2016, on average, we're buying 30 to 40 homes a month. And we had 3 months in a row where we bought 5 or 6 houses. So, find out what the problem is and how do you fix it.
Right.
The way you fix it is you go to the source. So marketing towards that motivated seller, meeting them at the kitchen table to buy the house.
Excellent. So today, as you look at your business, you buy houses. You guys do fix and flips or fix and rents, or do you kind of do all of it?
So our main focus is the turnkey world. So we have a pool of buyers, and all of the buyers have the same story. They want to be real estate investors, but it doesn't make sense where they live. So homes are too expensive, or the rent doesn't justify the purchase price. So San Diego, California, Seattle, a lot of guys from Denver and Boulder, Colorado, expensive places. Tel Aviv, Israel, Australia, Russia. So we buy properties in Memphis at a substantial discount. Most of the times they need a full renovation. We do that full renovation. We place a tenant and then sell it to one of our investors from one of those areas where it's just too expensive.
How do you kind of structure that?
It's usually one house to an investor. However, our average client buys 5 to 6 properties a year.
Wow.
So, we're blessed in America to have the precious 10 loans by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac that we can get with 20% down in closing cost. Every American should own 10 rental properties, or 9, and then have their personal residence.
Yeah.
And, that really became popular with Robert Kiyosaki coming out and telling the world about passive income and, teaching your children the importance of owning assets over liabilities. But it really got a shot in the arm when Warren Buffett came on a news channel and said that if he had the ability, he would go out and buy 200,000 single-family homes as investments. The problem would be, logistically, it'd be a nightmare.
Right, yeah.
So that's why someone like us who has everything under one roof, acquisitions team, renovation team, property management, is attractive to our clients who are thousands of miles away.
Yeah, yeah. You guys man, I tell you, that's amazing to think about, kind of people all over the world owning houses in Memphis, Tennessee. It's just, how do you find these guys? How do you find an investor? How do they find you?
It's a lot like finding a motivated seller, right? So you go where the investors are. So you can just go to a coffee shop in San Diego, sit around long enough, and you're going to run into somebody who would be ready to invest in Memphis. When they hear that they can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that's been fully renovated with a new roof, new mechanicals, all hard surface floors, no carpet, for $100,000, their mind is blown. Yeah, because
what can you rent that house for?
$1,000.
Yeah,
so that's called the 1% rule.
Yeah, right. It's hard to find. It's hard to get to 1%.
Right.
1% rule, especially you pay a couple $100,000 for a house, and it won't rent for more than $1,500 or so. And it's very hard to get that on a higher end property.
Yeah, the numbers just don't work as you go up in the price.
Yeah.
And then, of course, where are all the investors hanging out? A lot of wannabe investors, bigger pockets.
Yeah.
So we've probably had 30 to 40 clients this year just off of being visible, having a presence on bigger pockets.
Well, that's interesting. I think that it's a valuable network. I've enjoyed being a part of Bigger Pockets as well. But how did you structure your business over the past few years to get to where you are today?
Sure. So I broke it down. I said, first, we need to build a brand of a home buying company. Well, that was easy. We just signed up with WeBuyHouses.com. Brand created. Second, we needed a buyer, and we already had that. So that would be step 2 in creating a successful buy and sell business. And then 3 would be to scale up using people as leverage. So the first person we brought on was an acquisitions manager. And that was, we knew we needed that person when we had enough leads to where it was eating into my time and other people that needed to be doing other things. So we within our own network of people we knew in town, people that got along with the culture of our business, and found a great young man who has the experience of renovating homes himself. He's a licensed home inspector, and he is extremely personable. He has a big heart for people, and I believe that's what it takes, because he's meeting with people that are going through a divorce, a death in the family. They're embarrassed because of a bankruptcy, and he's able to get on their level and have empathy to whatever their situation is.
We're talking about Eric?
Eric, yeah.
I love that guy.
Man. So
he really is. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met. I told him, I said, I would buy anything from you.
And it's funny.
He isn't selling anything. I'd buy it.
He's in a sales position, but he's trying to get people to sell them their house.
That's right. It is a kind of an odd deal if you think about the world that we're in, where what we're selling is the fact that we'll buy something.
That's right. So my job is to overload him with so many appointments he doesn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And we got him there. So we got to the point where he had too many appointments. The next step logically would be to hire the second acquisitions manager. But what I did instead is we hired an assistant for Eric. So someone to book all of his appointments, do all of his follow-up, so that Eric could focus on what he's great at, and that's interacting with people, closing deals. Right. So we brought on a young lady named Tiffany, and she books all of Eric's appointments, answers all the phone inbound calls. In between, she's making outbound calls. She follows up with every client with a rigorous schedule, from thank you letter to 1 month call, 3 month call, and stays in touch with these clients, growing a deeper relationship, because we're seeing now that on average, the people that don't sign up to sell their house with us today, it's 3 to 6 months out.
I see. Mm-hmm.
So if we don't stay in contact with that person, lost lead, we just paid $350 for a lead and got nothing from it.
Yeah. So
Tiffany gave Eric the ability to focus on what he's great at, closing deals. And recently we did hire a junior acquisitions manager whose sole purpose is to go out and create his own leads. So farming neighborhoods, and we are now using Facebook marketing, and he's running those leads. So 2 acquisitions managers and someone setting up their leads is where our team is there. So, I mean, this year we'll successfully buy, renovate, and sell 300 properties. Our goal is 315, mm-hmm. and 300 is what we're on track for. So we need a big shot in the arm between now and the end of the year. And then we'll wholesale maybe 30 or 40 properties that just didn't meet our criteria. Mm-hmm. We wholetailed, learning these new terms all the time. Recently, a home that was built in 1912 in Midtown, a very vibrant area in Memphis, would not have made a great rental, but it came in through We Buy Houses website. We ran the lead. We monetized on it. We bought the house, cleaned it out with 2 dumpsters. It was a pretty tough house. Listed it on the MLS and sold it in a day. So now, as the market evolves and we're going to shift again, because it's getting tougher to find houses, we're opening up other streams of income like the wholesaling, and now more recently, multifamily.
Yeah, interesting. Where do you think we're headed in the next 24 months or so in this market?
Well, I wish I would have learned this at an earlier age. There's never a bad market.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, what are you going to do with the market that you're in? Well, how are you going to bloom where you're planted? So we're coming into another downturn. I think this downturn is going to be spiked by rising interest rates, mm-hmm. and less availability of something for someone to buy or sell. So for the first time in Memphis, the realtors I speak with are telling me, I've got a pre-approval letter in hand, a ready, willing, and able buyer, and nothing is on the market that they're happy with.
Wow.
And so I've seen that in other markets. It happened in other, booming markets earlier than it did in Memphis. But there's no answer to that problem in Memphis today. So that if I go back to what, I cut my teeth on first-time home buyers. Mm-hmm. There have been no lots developed to hold a first-time home buyer home, a beginner home, since 2009. Furthermore, no one has any plans to develop a community like that because it's not profitable. The cost of the land and then fully develop the land, you'd be all in that lot for over $60,000 cost. Mm-hmm. You can't build a $200,000 home on a $60,000 lot. So the only next step would be multifamily, but there's going to be more and more of a crunch on availability. So there is one more company that I subscribe to, Market Graphics. They're out of Nashville, but they operate in 73 different larger cities in America, and they track new home sales specifically. Mm-hmm. He called the last downturn of 2009 6 years in advance, and he is seeing the next downturn coming in May of 2020, and would love to spend a couple hours going over why. But the Fed meets with this guy twice a year, so his data is pretty strong. So May of 2020, I see a downturn coming of some kind. We could use it.
Would a downturn mean that like it's been a seller's market, and what a downturn means it shifts to being a buyer's market?
So his downturn was defined as reduction in property values across America by 5% starting May of 2020, and then 5% a year for the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. So that's a 20% downturn in values, and then it starts ticking back up.
Yeah. Here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I would think from 2012 we're up 40% or more. It's just been like almost 10% a year in some years. So it does seem like, everything's more expensive now than it was a few years ago. And has your cost to find a motivated seller gone up in the last few years as the lead, you're trying to find somebody who's interested in selling their house fast for cash?
I would argue that my cost has gone down.
Really?
Because now we've replaced the wholesaler with our guys internally.
Not giving up that margin, yeah.
That's right. So we have successfully paid for our marketing budget with wholesale deals. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we've been able to keep a supply of homes. We've grown our turnkey business 30% year over year for the past 3 years. So we're able to find enough homes to do the turnkey business. So where we'd like to buy a lot more homes, we're pretty, blessed to be in the position we're in. But I would say our cost has gone down because we cut out the middleman.
Yeah. Well, so that's interesting because you're not just looking at it as it cost me $300 to get a lead off Google or something. You're looking at it in a more of this full sense of the cost of the deal. And if you were giving up percentages, points to a wholesaler, that was an expensive cost per deal.
That's correct.
But kind of what do you guys see as working for finding the motivated seller where they are? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Google? Are they, what are you guys doing to kind of reach out to people in your market?
Definitely our number one source is illegal bandit signs. I'm just kidding.
You got me there.
It's a combination of WeBuyHouses.com leads have been ramping up month after month as we have implemented each of the different legs that make the marketing what it is. So those, I believe, are coming through the third and fourth touch that you have on this motivated seller. Mm-hmm. So maybe they get a card in the mail, they see us on Facebook, and then a letter, a yellow letter. So 3 or 4 times, then they go online, then they see a presence of a nationally established company, and now we're in with them. Mm-hmm. But so that, and then I don't get you care if I say this, but Fast Home Offer, great lead source. We're very happy to be doing both We Buy Houses and Fast Home Offer. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Fast Home Offer is another service that we offer, a pay-per-lead service. It is very good, and a lot of people, their business is fueled by the leads that they get from that single source.
Now, my most exciting lead source is 6 months ago, got my team to start doing some very minor little tweaks, and it's referrals. So going to every closing and, being a little bit larger company, you start getting numb to things like this because it's so basic 101 real estate, but go into every closing to shake the people's hand and bring in a small gift. Just like they were you're a realtor and they're selling their house for them. Bring them a small gift, spend $20 on a gift basket with all of your cards and information in there. They feel great and ask for a referral at the closing table.
That's amazing. Some of the things that you guys are doing are, I think for people listening to your story would say, that makes sense. It's obvious that you should do follow-up. it's, it's obvious that you should bring the professionalism of like a real estate agent or broker, the same sort of professionalism as an investor. And what I found is that people, they kind of expect that. And many investors fall short. Because they expect us to be professionals. They expect follow-up. They expect, professionalism. And you guys seem to deliver that to every client. And it's just an amazing accomplishment, the business that you guys have built there in Memphis. Now, you recently added Nashville, didn't you?
Yes.
Have you started your operation up there, or what are you doing in Nashville?
So it's on hold for right now, but we're still getting leads weekly. Mm-hmm. So Nashville is a very different market than Memphis. It's extremely appreciating. So when I had the opportunity to grab that, it was a no-brainer. I look to have boots on the ground in Nashville soon, but right now we don't have anybody there just working it. I really wanted to take advantage of that because I knew someone else would if I didn't. Mm-hmm. But with what's going on in Nashville, especially with a correction in the market, I want to be able to dominate when that correction comes, because right now there's very little opportunity to buy a turnkey or investment property there. I mean, they're still there, but nothing like Memphis. But when there is a correction on the market, I want to be the guy to be able to capitalize on Nashville.
Is there a point where Memphis kind of runs out of this type of inventory, or is there? How would you describe that market today? And can you just keep buying houses for the next 5 years out there?
So my mentor, Jim Reedy, here in the office, calls it the regurgitation of Memphis real estate. Mm-hmm. So we're buying homes from people every day that, bought a home 15 years ago. Now the house needs a new roof and AC's gone out, and they can't afford to do those things. And so they're ready to sell. Right. The divorces, the bankruptcies, the inherited properties. It seems like it'll end one day, but if that's our seller, then those three things are never going to go away.
It's always, yeah.
So yes, foreclosures are down 80% nationwide, right? But if that's your only source of buying, you're in trouble. So that's why it's important to have many legs to your business.
Yeah. You really outlined a dilemma that exists not only in Memphis, but all over the United States, in that it's not profitable for them to build starter homes, but the millennials want starter homes. There's always a massive kind of first-time buyer market, and there's nothing being built for those people. So it seems like the only way you get a nice starter home is you're buying one that either you're going to fix it up, or you buy it one from you guys where you've gone in there and turned it back into a retail ready product. That seems to be something that will continue to fuel our market, because there's really no competition from anybody coming in and building new homes, right? Is that kind of how you look at it, or am I seeing it wrong?
No, I mean, the day of a young couple right out of college being able to buy a house without mommy and daddy's help is a new house is gone here. Nashville, Birmingham, Huntsville, and those are the markets I know.
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably pretty tough in Plano to buy a brand new house as a young couple.
Yeah. Probably 400K starter home. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Most of the people I know, the young couples that are moving to Nashville, have some kind of family help. $100,000 down gets them into that house. There's just more to the story. And so I've got to run, but if you wanted to do one cool thing real quick, mastermind I'm in, we all do a give, where you have to give something to the audience. And if you'd want to record this, I'd like to do a give. Have you used Landglide, the app?
No.
So this would be my give. So Landglide is an app, and as you're on the app, you scroll through and you can see every parcel of every piece of property in any neighborhood you're in America. As you hover over it, it'll tell you who the owner is and give you their address and their mailing address. So this is my driving for dollars. Everybody on my team does this. They go to the link, they screenshot it, send it to the VA in the Philippines. They start skip tracing for driving for dollars.
So it's Landglide, Glide?
Yes. It's the most expensive app I've ever bought. It's $100 a year, but you'll make $10,000 off of it the first deal you close. So as you're driving, you see a house with a tarp, you get it on there, you find out who the owner is, you send it to your VA, the VA gets them on the phone. We closed 2 deals last week using this.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Thanks for the give. I know people appreciate it, and I also appreciate the time that you had today. So I think we covered a lot of bases here. It really is great I've spent some time with you there in Nashville, and wanted to hear more of your story. And I'm so glad that you took some time to share it with us. And I think it also it helps those who are building their business today in some other market to hear someone like you who's done this and accomplished this level of success. So thank you for joining us today, and look forward to seeing you maybe in Memphis. I'd love to come visit you there. You guys come to Dallas and see us here. We look forward to having you here in the office.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, we'll see you. Take care, and thank you for joining us today, James.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye. Wow, man, what an amazing guy!
It's incredible.
He's a consummate real estate professional.
He is, and he's so giving in this video that I wouldn't have told some of that stuff.
No kidding. But you also saw, his mentors, Kiyosaki, Warren Buffett,
right.
Gary Keller. Okay, this isn't a guy who learned from gurus in hotels, right?
This is the real deal.
This is the real deal, and I think
right.
you guys seeing and learning from these guys really will help to elevate your game.
We're bringing you content that you're just not going to find anywhere else because these guys are doing it. Okay, none of this lay under a palm tree and get rich.
That's right. Well, I tell you what, that was another great episode. We're looking forward to the next one. We got some great guys teed up, men and women teed up.
That's right.
Wonderful real estate professionals, investors, like you said, in competitive markets where they are killing it with the We Buy Houses brand. So we'll see you next time on Secrets of Successful Real Estate Investors.